Hi, my name is Matthew Lucas, and this is my Cultural Challenge experience. For my Culture Challenge, I got the opportunity to be fully immersed into the Italian culture by actually traveling there. I got to experience the food, the language, and the scenery. I visited 3 cities on my trip: Bellagio, which is on Lake Como, Venice, and Florence. This trip was a real learning experience for me because I wanted to learn more about the part of my family that came from Italy. Italy has a very unique culture, many cool and exotic foods to try, a different language to learn, and plenty of things to keep you busy. I really enjoyed this trip to Italy, and I strongly suggest that if you ever get the chance to go, you should. I must say that the food was one of the best parts of the trip. Italian food is always fresh. Even the fast food is made fresh. This is what makes Italian food taste amazing. It was weird to experience real Italian pizza. In Italy, their pizza has no pepperoni on it, and the pizza isn't served pre-cut. Instead of pepperoni, the Italian go-to meat is prosciutto. Prosciutto is a dry-cured ham that is sliced thinly. Italians put prosciutto on almost everything, and they even serve it alone. Another thing that I loved about Italian food is the meat platters. Meat platters are usually served as an appetizer, and sometimes include prosciutto, mortadella, salami, coppa, and sometimes bresaola. These meats are very flavorful, and you have to be careful that you don't stuff yourself before your main course. The very first meal that I experienced in Italy was a platter of fish. On this platter was an assortment of different fish. There was arborella and carpione, which is a boned fish primarily found in lakes. Misoltino is a typical fish dish of Lake Como. Trota affumicata, these are smoked trout fillets, and trota salmonata, which literally translates to salmon trout. This was a weird experience because they weren't cooked, they were raw, and they were still full fish. I'm the type of person that doesn't really like sushi, but this was a whole nother level. One of my favorite things in Italy was the architecture. 2 of the most beautiful pieces were the Duomo in Florence and St. Mark's Basilica in Venice. These 2 places are amazing feats of engineering. The Duomo was built in the late 1400s, while St. Mark's Basilica was built in the 9th century. The Duomo was created before the times of calculators, electric tools, cranes, and all the amazing equipment that we have today. The Duomo is 376 feet tall and took over 4 years to complete. At first, there was difficulty figuring out a way to build the dome due to its large size. There was a competition held in 1418 by the Opera del Duomo for the construction of the dome, with a hefty prize of over 200 florins. Filippo Brunelleschi was chosen as superintendent of the Cupola project. There were many problems for Brunelleschi to solve, and one of the first problems was that there were no ways of hoisting large beams into the air. With this, Brunelleschi invented a 3-speed hoist with a system of gears, pulleys, screws, and drive shafts, powered by 2 oxen which turned a wooden tiller, and the castello, which was a 65-foot-tall crane with a series of counterweights and hand screws to move loads once they had been raised to the right height. Brunelleschi's inventions were ingenious, inventive, and also very expensive. The most impressive things that Brunelleschi did was that he figured out how to actually make the Duomo a reality. The sheer size of this monster was crazy. Brunelleschi left no plans or sketches around after he died. This is why almost no one knows just how he got the dome to stand and not collapse in on itself. The inside of Brunelleschi's dome was decorated with a painting depicting the Last Judgment. The project was started in 1568 by Giorgio Vasari and Federico Zuccari, and wasn't finished until 1579. This enormous painting would go on to cover the whole 38,750 square feet of the dome's interior. St. Mark's Basilica was also really amazing. The man in charge of creating this beautiful basilica was Domenico I Contrari. The basilica was created to protect many different old relics. One of these old relics were 4 bronze horses. They were brought to Venice in 1204 from Constantinople, where they had been a part of a larger sculpture. Although they were originally placed in the arsenal, they were set up in the mid-13th century on the exterior of San Marco. They were moved to Paris by Napoleon, but were returned in 1815. Later, to protect them from damage, the originals were brought inside and replicas were put into their place. The exterior of the basilica is very ornate and very well decorated. It is said that whenever Venetian vessels returned from the Orient, they brought something for the basilica, be it a frieze, column, or something else from an ancient building elsewhere in the world. Although the exterior of the basilica is beautiful, the interior is even more spectacular. These beautiful marble floors were arranged in a geometric pattern with many animal designs throughout. About 8,000 square meters of different mosaics cover the walls and ceilings. I learned so much about the Italian culture through this project. It was really fun to go on this trip and see Italy. There was so much that I saw on this trip, but these were the two highest points of the trip for me. Thank you for coming with me on a journey through Italy's culture.